So you grew up in a Christian home?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was that like?
Pretty cool.
Yeah?
I guess. I don't know.
What are the positives and negatives?
Well, I really appreciate that my parents dragged me to church kicking and screaming every single week until I was about 14 when I dipped out of it a lot.
Yeah.
When I got to an age where I could actually make my own choices, I started, I wouldn't say backsliding, but I didn't want to go to church, and I ended up doing all this, like, I wouldn't say stupid. I learnt from that age.
Yeah.
So if there was one black sheep in the family, it'd probably be me. I don't fit the mould of my older brothers or my sister.
Yeah.
My sister, plays guitar and does the whole singing praises all the time. My oldest brother lives in China with his wife as a missionary.
Wow.
My second oldest brother is planning a church in Sweden. My third oldest brother plays drums, and he's just,
So it's just the whole family. And
then
there's Anna.
And I was like trying to be like...
breaking through glass.
Well, I think it's also got to do with the fact they sent me to an all-girls school after being brought up by 3 older brothers. It was like, oh, what do I do to fit in with girls?
Yeah. You weren't used to it.
Yeah. So...
and did you like have that rebelling kind of like 14-year-old, like, I'm just going to do what I want? And how long did that go for?
It actually continued on until late year 11 when I'd actually been expelled from my previous school. And
tell us about that.
It's actually kind of a shameful story.
Okay.
It'd been with I'll tell you anyway.
Okay, sweet.
I had my best friend, and we've been best friends since we've been in year 4.
Yeah.
Like, we went to primary school, and then we went to high school together, and we got into a lot of trouble with the police end of year 8. And I thought...
Usual suspects.
I thought we'd get through thick and thin, but after that happened and we got suspended from school and we just started coming back, she started blaming everything on me. Like, she started using me as a scapegoat, and I'm like, man, you were there, okay? You can't blame everything on me. And there's this other girl that was with us too that...
Right, she was trying to get out of it by putting it on you.
We're all blaming it on each other.
Right.
And she started stirring me really hard at school. She's always, like, coming up to me and she's like, what up?
So this is your best friend doing this?
Yeah, this was my best friend.
So it's pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah. And she'd follow me around. She just taunt me and give me names. And I was like, I hate this. Like, why would you do it? So I tried avoiding her. But one time at the station after school...
Come on.
She comes up and she pushes me, and I'm like, that's it. And we had this huge fight, like this massive cat fight. And all the girls... It's funny, girls really got into it. Why are you clapping? It's terrible. It's terrible. I got expelled and ended up... I pushed her onto the train tracks. And...
Oh, heavy.
There's a school teacher there, like, screaming profanity at us to stop. And, that's what happened. They're like, just get out of the school. I don't want to see you again. Like, I can't believe... But I was like, it's not my fault. She pushed me. She had her friends taunting me. It's a really sad story. After that, she's actually didn't have any friends at school. My friends felt like they should tell me all the time after I left.
So have you kind of reconciled anything?
No, actually. I've always wanted to, but I've never seen her, and I don't have a number or anything. But
Wow, that's
pretty hectic.
That's pretty full on.
So no, after that, I went to Pacific Hills Christian School with my mum because she was like, you're coming to school with me where I can keep an eye on you, hey? So I went there and I was still doing stupid stuff. But
so does that kind of time of your life, how do you kind of approach God and church and stuff with all that? Like, have you dealt with that kind of stuff?
It's life experience.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, people can come up to me with a situation and, 80% of the time I've done it before, so I can talk to them.
Have you... Oh, I've pushed someone on the train tracks as well.
Oh, yeah, that occurs heaps often, hey, but no, like, it's...
Yeah, no, but I understand what you're saying.
But instead of, like, I can now give people, like, a Christian way of getting out of it, like a God-focused, centered way of getting out of it, so I don't... It's not just life experience, but rather than I can learn from my own mistakes and teach people about it as well. Like,
that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we wouldn't have known that about Anna tonight as she was sitting there, a person that pushes people on train tracks all the time.
Just don't catch a train with me, seriously.
Right. From Chatswood.
Gone.
And if, I guess, looking at like change and all these faces out there, obviously everyone's got stories like this.
Yeah.
And you seem
definitely.
You seem pretty kind of unashamed about, like, this is my story, but I love God and I want it seems like
All
you want the
things
most
that,
out of life.
I've been reconciled with God.
How
and
could you encourage someone to be confident about their past but also move into a better future and with Jesus?
It's kind of like that idea that, well, not necessarily everything happens for a reason, but there's always a lesson to be learnt from everything we do,
Yeah.
good and bad.
So do you think God's in those moments, like he's teaching you through them?
No, he's not there with you when you push someone onto train tracks. It's not like God's like, yeah!
yeah, of
Like,
course.
He's pretty much there just like, come on, man, like seriously. But no, definitely God, you learn from things and dealing with things like that. There's nothing in your past that you shouldn't reconcile with and shouldn't deal with now while you're still young, because my parents actually prophesied over me about a year ago, and they were saying, Anna, there's this big weed growing in your spirit. They said it like it was like your spirit's like a garden. And, you know, there's the trees and there's the fruits of life and things that come from being with God. But they said there's a big weed in the corner of your garden. And for the last year, it did consume me. Like, I got really back into all the same stuff that I was going into, you know, when I was a teenager. And they said if you don't deal with that, it's going to start consuming you. And that weed could have been, like, they didn't tell me what it was, obviously, but that was just the pitch they were given. But they were just telling me that every situation in your life you need to deal with, otherwise that consumes you later on. It does grow in your spirit. That stuff does grow in your spirit. And you need to nip it at the bud. As soon as you've done something wrong, you need to deal with it. Otherwise it will grow and you will be consumed by it, whether you realise or not.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Come on, give it up for Anna. It was great to hear some of your story. Thanks for being open and honest. Come on, give it up for Anna.